in five,
I'm gonna
four,
Google it.
3, 2, 1. Hi, welcome everybody. I told you 8 minutes, and 8 minutes passed, and I'm here with the man of the hour, Doaly. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well, Tom. Doing well. Thanks for having me today. Thanks to Gareth. Thanks to the whole team. It's been great to be back for another year.
Yeah, first things first. You told me about a little something. I think is it Dan Sandler? Dan Sandler,
Yes.
you promised something, my friend, and we
Yes, I
delivered.
did. Yeah.
We delivered.
So we
Both of
delivered.
us, though.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So
See it.
here
This
it
is
is.
the fanny pack. The fanny pack is on there. I've got my fanny pack. I got the Star Wars one. May
Yes.
the Force be with you. So is it double now, Dan? Is it double or not? Let
Yeah.
us know in the
Yes.
comments. We will see what's up. And also, hit the like button because it's really appreciated, and we can do more giveaways, more fun stuff, and so on and so on. So, Dan is saying yep. So, I'll take it.
Happy.
$360 US for a fanny. So is it twice now since I have one as well?
Exactly.
But I'm not an artist.
Should be an
so
extra. Yeah.
Tell me where to donate. So that's good. Okay. Doaly, I think you're gonna hash that out on Twitter, Instagram, or wherever. But I think
Yeah.
that's a really cool thing.
No. Thank you so much, Dan. Like, happy to do it.
I would love, as an suggestion here, where to donate. I would love to see. I mean, art is always like helping kids to do art. That's always something cool. But I would love to see to go to help the people in Afghanistan and help the situation out. And that wouldn't be my suggestion, but that's just mine. So you decide, people. You decide. No pressure. No pressure. So I thought it's going to be a little bit fun to start out and do a little movie trivia quiz here for Lord of the Rings, because that's going to be part of the giveaway towards the end of the session. It's going to be via Twitter, so keep your eyes peeled. I'll let Gareth know when he should post it, so you can head over. We'll be really towards the end, so you're not going to leave us here right away. And so I'm going to ask Doaly some questions. You can guess also in the comments. Our first question is pretty easy.
Okay.
What is the name of Boromir's brother in the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
Faramir.
Well, there you go, Faramir. That was easy. That was easy.
Yeah.
So, another name question. What was Aragon's name before his true name was revealed?
Strider.
Also easy. So you know your stuff. You know your stuff.
Yeah.
Here you go. A little harder, but also a name. What is the name of the town where the Prancing Pony is situated?
Oh God, you're going to get me. Okay, no, I'm not going to do that one. I'll probably say it. As soon as you say it, I will remember it, but I can't right now.
It is Bree.
That's it. Yes, named after the cheese. There we go. Yeah.
Exactly. So we have another one here. There. What type of creature did Aragon fight one-on-one during the battle at the Black Gate at the end of the Return of the King?
Type of creature one-on-one. He beheaded the mouth of Sauron. If we're talking about that.
No,
but also an ogre.
Yeah, troll. A troll. We were looking for troll.
Yeah. Okay. Same family.
Same family. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Then what else do we have here? This one is a tough one. What is the name of the path that leads to Shelob's lair in Return of the King?
See, that's the thing. I've drawn it on the map. I'm trying to remember now. Is it the staircase? Is it? Oh no, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Sorry if I saw.
But it's there. I think it's around there somewhere. Yeah. So the right answer is Cirith Ungol.
Okay, yeah, I was not going to get that.
Okay.
My elf language isn't that up to par.
Okay, then we're gonna do two more.
And two more.
The almost last one is in the Two Towers. What does Treebeard think Merry and Pippin are when he first meets them?
Orcs, possibly.
Orcs. Yeah, orcs is the answer we were looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. And last one is a little bit harder. And this one is, What is the name of the capital city of Rohan in the Lord of the Rings films?
See, I've drawn it. I know it's where. It's not Minas Tirith.
It's not Minas
Uh,
Tirith.
no. No, can't tell you. Sorry.
It's Edoras.
Okay, I wasn't going to get that. Definitely not going to get that.
So too tough question, but I think you did very well on the quiz.
Yeah, I did okay. I did
In
get
the
passable.
beginning, you were, I think, a little bit more scared, but
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, thank you for everybody joining us here. I see a bunch of people. Let's welcome up from the comments. I see Dan already commented. Sam is here. Murugaya is here. Ruslan,
Cool.
Mike Rice. We have caffeine and collectibles again. So it's a little bit later. I hope you are up, buddy. We got Nada in here. We got Luke again. Flory's just shouting out bum bags, and everybody calls them bum bags now. And,
Yes, that's what they call them over in the UK as well.
Okay. Is it
Yeah.
not a hip bag? We call them hip bags.
Well, definitely from back in the day, they were bum bags, and then the Americanism for bum is fanny, so
Yeah.
fanny pack and all that sort of thing. But yeah, bum bag for sure.
Yeah. What else do we have here? What did I make up, Flory? What are you talking about? And David O'Connor is here. Carly Draws is here, and Kevin Wilson is in the house. So yeah, there's a bunch of cool people hanging out with us on this lovely afternoon over here in the UK and Germany. So, but yeah, let's get into your artwork. I mean, we're talking about composition as we did in the early session here, and I would say your compositions are always very conceptual and very intriguing and different from what you usually get. And so let's jump into that. What composition part do you want to talk about, my friend?
Any just generally sort of thing.
I'm just gonna pop them up like the questions. So first one, we're gonna alphabetically a little bit here, and the first one is Batman Begins, which is such a beautiful piece. Just focusing on the flower here, but what's the concept and composition? How is it intertwined for you?
Yeah, it's one of the things, like there's been hundreds of probably Batman pieces over the years, especially Batman Begins, because that was kind of like bringing it back to the forefront. And I wanted to do something that was subtle. I didn't want to draw like Christian Bale and draw anyone, because I was like, drawing people is not my strong point. So let me just go from a conceptual point of view. And the whole idea of Batman Begins. So where was the beginning stage? Initially I was thinking of doing like the alleyway scene, like Crime Alley. But it's like, does anyone want to have a scene of two parents getting killed on their wall? So it's like, okay, let's not do that. You know what I mean? It's a great concept, and I did do a sketch and everything else, but it's like, it's a bit too dark. So it's like, okay, what was another beginning point within the film? And it was the flower, because that kind of ties back to the end of the film as well. With Scarecrow and so forth, and the gas. So I was like, that was a very iconic thing for me. And it was like I wanted to draw a piece which was, just a flower. It's kind of like that. You have an idea, like I want to draw something, and then you attach it to a property. It's like, I want to draw flowers. So it's like, okay, what does that work for? And in this case, it was Batman Begins. And I just wanted to find a way that I could include like the essence of the bat as well. So I've done it in like the petals and the leaves of the flower. And that was it. It spells it all out without having to like really go to town and have characters and so forth in the scene. So it was a fun piece to draw for me from that point of view. It's always something that, if you can draw something different from the norm, for me anyway, that's what I try to aim for in my work.
Okay, and is that? I mean, I can see the bat in there. I don't remember the flower exactly, but does it actually look in a film like the?
Yeah,
like,
it's
it does.
There's the scene where Christian Bale is on his way to like meet Ra's al Ghul, and he's climbing up the mountains and everying else.
Yeah, I remember
And
that, but I just don't remember the details.
Part of it is like, find the blue flower and then come and see me. So it's like they show him picking the blue flower, and he takes it all the way to Ra's al Ghul. So yeah, they identify it. You see it on screen for a number of times.
Yeah, because they actually look like bats, so it's like really cool that it resembles obviously pretty well. And you said not drawing faces that much. You don't like it that much, but when it comes to helmets and stuff, that's better.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier. It's just one of those
Okay,
things
okay.
like everyone I think has their strong point. And
Yeah, sure.
originally anyway, drawing people wasn't my strong point. So I gravitated away from that. Getting better at it, but definitely gravitated away from that.
Uh,
So it's easier me drawing things than it is people. Or hands. Hands I can draw
yeah.
really well.
um, then my question here, like the first more in-depth question here would be: do you make a difference between composition and concept, or do you take them like basically on equal value?
Um, oh, they both have to work. Originally, when you're like kind of dreaming up a piece, it's like, okay, what's the concept behind it? What's the
Mm.
story I want to tell? And then it's like, how can I now get that into into a composition that is also as strong as the concept? Because sometimes I've had like concepts and I've put them down on paper, but I can't get the composition to work. And they've been like, put on the back burner until I can find a composition that, lives up, and they have to work in tandem. You can't just have a really strong concept, but the composition and the art piece is not being able to, tell that story well enough. So definitely it starts with 90% of the time it starts with the concept, and then it's finding out the right composition for that concept.
Okay. Um, I mean, you have a bunch of pieces you included. I mean, the Ghostwriter people. So if you want to check the Ghostwriter breakdown
Yes.
and all of the ideas, you can head over to DropMag, obviously, and get the details on that over there. We did Return of the King as well, or was it Two Towers?
We've done Two Towers. I'm not sure if we've done Return of the King or not. We've talked about that. But
We talked about that, but let's get into that since it's one of the Return of the King is going to be the giveaway. But we're going to take a
yeah.
look at the pieces individually, and you let us know what the thoughts behind it are and what the composition and yeah, what kind of role it played there. So first
Yeah,
up
sure.
is going to be the obviously the first one.
Yeah, always wanted to do Return of the King piece. I think everyone has, a Return of the King piece in them. And I drew this originally in 2016. Um,
Hmm.
drew it as part of a commission. The commission didn't actually go to fruition. It was part way through being signed off, and never happened. So it's been sitting on the back burner for, since 2016. Revisited it a couple of years back now, and then I filled in a lot more of the detail on the map compared to what I drew back then. And at the end, released it by Zabi, but it's another one of those pieces like, Lord of the Rings is such a big, epic film, and so many characters and different stories you can tell within that world. I just wanted to boil it down once again to like the essence of, some memorable moments of the film, or memorable,
Hmm.
like settings. And it was in this case, it was the ring, it was Sauron, it was the tower, it was like you're in Middle Earth, this new world, for a lot of people that haven't read the books. So it was like, how do I create that as part of a piece? And this, like, the concept was originally going to be just like a little standalone, like, um, just a little standalone sketch that you could buy with the original piece. But then it was like, this is a lot stronger than the original piece. So I, drew this up instead. And it's great to finally release it, because it's something that I've teased over the years for a long time.
Hmm.
And it's like, finally, like, someone liked it enough that, okay, let's get it signed off, let's get it officially released. And I got to do that with Zavi.
Hmm.
And the biggest thing was being able to like print it on foil, the way we wanted it, because the only part of the foil you actually see is just behind the ring. And it's like,
Hmm.
you've got an entire sheet of foil and you're printing on all of it, and you only get to see a little small bit. So it's like, I was glad they bought into that idea, and it's not like less is more in this scenario. So that was very much part of it. The production. It's a lot of the times it's like I'm just printing on paper for the most part, and this is the first time when I, choosing the paper and the
Yeah.
finish was as much of a part of the concept as anything else.
What is the or why did you choose this kind of color for it? Because like when we look at the other ones, they all have distinct colors, and why this one?
So this one was just going back to, like, say, what a map would look like. In a sense, you got that sort of like tea stained, papyrus sort of map feel. Originally, when I came up with this concept, it wasn't going to be a trilogy of prints. It was pretty much, this is my Lord of the Rings piece that encapsulates everything. Um, but then once I'd done it and released it, it was like, this could work really well for a second and third. And then it was like, how do I work on that and still have it rather than just churning it out for the sake of it, have it so it still means something
Mm.
as the pieces go on. And I went back to like the original DVD, like the deluxe releases, which I have behind me, and they all have like different colors. The first one was green, then we had so it's burgundy, green, and then blue. I think it was the order.
Hmm.
So I've mixed up the order a bit, but I still wanted to go back to those original colors,
Yeah.
pulling from that. Hence, we've got these set of three prints.
Mhm. Looking at the second one, I mean, the first one, because we have in the two towers, obviously the titular
Yeah.
things to see there, and we had a tower in the first one. Was there ever the idea to do like a hobbit hole, like Bilbo's place?
Uh, No, no. I mean, the other thing that this one was going to be was one of the ideas I was playing around with, and this might then translate into something that I do for The Hobbit. Maybe this was originally going to
Oh,
be Aragon Sword, and I was going to do rather than gold foil, it was going to be silver foil,
hmm,
and I was going to have the broken up shards of Aragon Sword and having a
oh yeah,
shadow
yeah, mhm.
emit from that. Yeah, so that was the original one, and I think I spoke to you about it as well, Tom,
Yeah. We did. I think, but was
yeah,
after the
yeah,
talk.
after like an online chat. And I
Yeah,
was like, okay, between the two ideas, I was working out which one's going to work the best. And it's like, if I do this for the second one, I'm not sure exactly what I was going to do for the third. And I could always save that for something else. But yeah, the first original concept was like the hilt of the sword with the broken shards.
yeah.
And it was going to be a silver foil piece. But then this, like when I put it down on paper, I couldn't get it to work how I wanted it to. So this worked a lot better for me, especially as a series, because when you see all three of them close together, the rings kind of like falling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like in the fires of Mount Doom. So they have that. If you put them side by side, they work great from that point of view.
Mm. Why did you change the direction? Is that because of where the towers are originated? Because when you look at it, you always have this certain angle of the
Yeah.
shadow. Because the first one and the last one, they are kind of like the same angle, but yeah, it's mixed up for the
Yeah.
two towers.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like I played around with which angle, like if I have it left or right, kind of facing from a shadow point of view,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted that shadow still going over Mordor.
Mm, okay.
And then the only other thing was like I had to draw a lot more of the map because I wanted Isengard to be in here.
Mm,
Um, so I kind of lifted up the map, shifted it over, and then drew the rest of like of Middle Earth in, and then because I had the chance to do that, and then I filled in even more detail in the currently existing areas.
mm,
Because whenever you keep going back, oh, there's other bits that I've missed out. They're smaller, like little landmarks and so forth. So you just like zoom in and start drawing a lot more because it's just a lot more. It's a lot of fun to actually draw a map. It's the first time I've done it as part of an art piece. Um, so I've got the entire Middle Earth map now with all three pieces that I've done. I've got like a separate file which is the entire map.
mm-hmm.
So at some point I could like release like a landscape version of that with something possibly, but
Mm.
we'll see. But it's fun to draw for sure.
All right. And then we come to the last one that will be part of the giveaway over at Instagram later towards the end of the show. And yeah, so we see a crown.
Yeah, yeah. It was just I think it was a Return of the King. It's that point in the film where we've had two films where it's like we've had the introduction of Sauron and so forth, and we've had like Two Towers when a lot of people like all hope is lost to a degree. Whereas this one is really much the rising of man and it's the return. It's titled Return of the King. So I wanted something a bit more hopeful, and I think the crown for me was that aspect. It is it's a new age for Middle Earth. It is that sort of thing. So
Mm.
I wanted that being the fundamental part of,
Yeah.
of the concept of this piece, and then even the blue as well. It has a very regal aspect to it with the gold. So those kind of things tied in. And then we've moved the map over significantly because now we've got the Shire in there because it's the beginning part and the end part of the film. So I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to finish it off with one having Minas Tirith in there, but also having the Shire
Mm.
finally in the map.
Was there ever the idea to do, instead of a crown, maybe Minas Tirith, since it's a building, kind of an iconic building as well?
Yeah, it's just it wasn't as a silhouette. It's not recognizable enough,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those things you want to see as a glance and know exactly what it is rather than trying to work it out. It's like
Mm-hmm.
when you have concepts like this, it's got to like click to a degree, like or it's got to at least get the mind working. And Minister of just when you see it as a whole, it's great, but when you just create it as a shadow, as a silhouette, it doesn't really read that well.
Mm-hmm.
So I played around with a couple of things, but none of them read as well as the idea of the crown. So
Okay.
it was quite easily, put onto one side.
Yeah. So what's the next big thing for you towards like doing an out there composition concept that do you have something planned already that you're going to
Um,
release upon the
I've
world?
got I've got a couple of pieces which are quite fun ones. I've just had Loki signed off. It's just well, we're just waiting for the final sign off. It's just the last one, but that's
Mhm.
been signed off in theory. Um, so that's coming out, and that's another like because of the show being what it is. There's a lot of chance to play around with stuff. So that's going to be an interesting one. I am drawing faces in this one, so it's a bit different from some of my other work. Um, but yeah, that's going to be definitely a weirder piece. A lot more like there's some different ideas going on for sure.
Mhm. Is the Loki one going to be more into the
No,
comic style like you did the Spider-Man pieces
oh
or
right.
totally different?
No, I think it's definitely in line with more of I guess the show. It's a lot more realism involved.
Okay.
So we do have Tom Hiddleston. We do have a number of characters in the piece. So definitely realism is there, but then it's also like there's a trippy nature of the program and so forth, and the different timelines and so on, that plays a very heavy part in it. So to a degree, there's a very graphical element to it, I want to say, without trying to give too much away before I can.
Does
But yeah, it's
does
definitely.
Kevin Wilson know what it looks like?
Yeah, he's seen it. Yeah, he's seen it because there's like a
Okay.
private illustrators group, and we
Ah,
always
yeah,
like
yeah,
bounce
yeah.
ideas off people, so they've definitely seen it for sure.
Some
What's he
people,
said?
yeah.
Sorry.
That's the way to get in there. He said your Loki is great.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. Thank you. Yeah, so that was a fun one to work on. It's a weird one.
Yeah, that's definitely something. Looking at other artwork that you've done, I mean, you've done comic book covers and posters
Yeah.
that are similar to comic book covers. Is there a difference in terms of approach, composition, and concept when you do these?
I think one of the big things when it's comic books, there's somewhat to a different style of drawing for comics. But you get to draw the character, and it's not you're not worried about likeness issues and so forth. You can really give your flavor to the character because long as your costume is accurate, the aging of the characters is accurate, you could kind of do what you want. There's not a specific like look of the face that you have to achieve for when
Mm-hmm.
when you're working with likeness for a film that is something you have to take into account. So you can very much make the character your own. So yeah, this piece that I got to do for X-Men, like the relaunch of X-Men. So this is issue number one variant. It was great to do like I've never done like a multi-character compositional piece. So this is my first kind of real foray into that. So I was like, let's see if this is something I can do. And it allows me to then, do more pieces in the future. So this is a real fun one. I generally do my posters and stuff. It takes few days on average. This was like I worked on this during a week, so the posing and everything of characters and so forth, and just tweaking all the little facial features and so on. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so this was a lot of fun to do. So I was really happy as a piece. It's like sometimes you set yourself milestones in your work that you want to achieve, and I like having drawing like a compositional piece which has had like many faces and many characters in there was one of those. Just to prove to myself that I could do it. I think.
Were you happy that most of the faces are at least only half or covered?
Um, yeah, it was one of the things like everyone's pretty much like a side-on sort of portrait, so it was like nailing that, and side profiles is lovely to draw because it's more distinct that shape that you can achieve. But it was like even like some of the characters like yes, some people are wearing masks. There's only two people that aren't, but it's like those are the ones that I worked on first, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was let's draw the masked people just because it gets easier as you go on.
Mm. Which issue was that
So that was issue one of the new
for the
X-Men.
new X-Men series?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it 2021 or is it 2020?
21. It's
21.
a few months back now, I think.
Okay, okay.
So 2 3 months, I believe. Yeah.
Since you're doing a lot of those comic books, how like how much do you read in terms of comic books? Are you up to date or because I have
Yeah.
to say I am not up to date.
I dip in and out of certain storylines that kind of like really speak to me. Like I read a lot of the Thor comics,
Hmm.
and also do even like non Marvel stuff. So I'm reading. quite a few ones from Image Comics at the moment because I'm getting to work
Yes.
with them, and Kyle Higgins. So I've done some covers for him for Radiant Black, and I'm doing some covers for Ordinary Gods from him. So I'm getting to like it's a wider breadth of comics because before it was pretty much is it going to be DC or Marvel. So I'm now reading a lot of the independents as well. So I'm a lot more clued up than I was in a sense. I knew
Yeah.
storyline stuff, but now I'm actually reading the full issue arcs. So it's a lot more fun as well from that point of view because you get a lot more insight from that point of view.
Yeah. I see. And on there's one thing. It's not a comic book cover, but it is
Yeah.
the Empire cover that you did,
Oh, yeah.
which we sadly didn't talk about because we kind
Did
of, I
we?
don't
Oh,
know.
did we not? Yes. Yeah, we missed it. Yeah.
We missed it when you were on the show and you were with us for the full show because James was sadly out sick. And this is just incredible. It's just the colors are amazing, and the silhouette is just incredible. But by this time, have you seen the movie or not?
No, this is prior to seeing the movie, so I'd see like everyone else, like even Sam mentioned it. Sometimes you're just working off trailers and stills. Um, so yeah, I just seen as much as anyone else could in the public eye. The only like I got some steers, of course, from the Chris, the art director, and it's like certain things that Marvel is willing to go into and some certain things that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So when I originally drew this, I drew him wearing the rings
Mm-hmm.
on his forearms. So that was something that we said, okay, that hadn't been like since then it's been in trailers. By that time it hadn't been. So it can only go as far as what in a sense the public has seen, so there's no spoilers from that point of view. So we removed the rings off him, so I do have a version with him wearing the rings, but then we put them surrounded him. But the idea very easily was we had within a week to do this cover, so I got contacted on the Wednesday and I delivered the artwork on the following Monday, and the deadline was a hard deadline of that Wednesday as well, so worked on it through the weekend. But we very much like likeness was something that we couldn't do like a full front on thing because we didn't have enough time to get it signed off. So we went for this like kind of side on more mysterious look. And then the dragon was something that we wanted to have part of it and have it quite a prominent piece of it. So this was a great way of like having that sort of like side profile, but it's like it's cut through with the dragon, so you get this nice silhouette sort of feel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was just going over different screenshots and so forth, trying to like pose a figure in the right way, getting the costume accurate at the same time, and getting the likeness, even though we only see a bit of his face, we could getting that as accurate as possible within the piece. So there's like I want it to be so the actor's happy with my representation of him.
Okay. And how do you feel about it afterwards after seeing the movie now? Do you still feel would you have done something different now if you would have done the Empire cover now?
Not for the Empire cover. I mean, originally, before you had been offered the Empire cover, I had an idea for a poster because I thought at some point, I do want to tackle the property. But it was like it relied on having multiple characters and multiple scenes going on. So what I was allowed, in a sense, even from a time point of view, it's like that wouldn't be achievable. So I'm happy with the coverage I've come up with now. It's grown on me more so after watching the film and just like over time. But when you've got such a tight deadline, I don't think you've got enough time to sit back and appreciate it. So it's nice. I really like the piece. I like the piece more so than I did when I submitted it for sure. But there's definitely like there's still an idea out there for a Shang-Chi like full poster release, which I might do in the future. At the moment, it's like I've just finished a Shang-Chi comic book cover for Marvel, which got signed off this week.
Awesome.
So that's coming out. It's issue 6, which I can say because it started getting seeded out. So it's issue 6, and it's a variant cover, and it's the end of like the Marvel is Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe. So it's the end of that story arc. So I've just done that. So it's like, okay, I've done 2 official pieces for Shang-Chi. Let's possibly do a third at some point. So very much into the character and having the chance to read into him a lot more because of these 2 projects. Definitely want to do something else as well.
Did you also do the title work on this one, or did somebody else do it?
No, I did the title work as well. I wanted that richness of the red and gold and so forth, those sort of motifs coming through. So you get given the file work, and in some cases you can do the treatment yourself. But I very much wanted that gold feel to it. I was joking to someone again. I get to draw gold rings again. So it's something that's cropping up constantly in my work recently.
Yeah, there's going to be a teaser here. There's going to be some more gold rings in the future.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I'm going to leave that up to the guys to reveal because I'm not allowed to do that yet. But
Of
there is
course. Yeah, yeah,
definitely
I know, I know.
more to
I
come.
just wanted to
Yeah.
tease. I was just wanted to tease
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
crowd.
It's just tease. I'm just. It's always one of the things with like NDAs and everything. You don't want to say too much, but yeah, definitely more rings in the future.
Yeah, you make of it what you want, people. You can guess in the comments, but we're not going to say yes or no. And yeah, also later on, Moore Art is going to reveal something. It's going to blow your mind, people. So be there for the Moore Art panel. It's going to be crazy. I don't know if Dolly, have you seen something on that yet? What I'm talking about here, or do you not know?
It
In the
depends if it
artist
is what I
group?
think it is. I don't think I've seen that thing. I've seen other stuff that they're working on. I don't know which one it is though. So I'm going to tune in with everyone else just to to check it out.
Okay, okay, okay. So yeah, yeah, tune in with that later on, and it's incredible. It the what I've seen, I'm saying it beforehand before the public is going to see this. It's
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, people saying yesterday, poster of the year, commented that on Matt Griffin's poster. Matt, I love your work, but sorry, I think this one is going to get poster of the year.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, people guessing Sonic, so that's at least something. That has to do with rings, definitely. But maybe
That
something
does.
else.
That does.
What else does has to do
Could
with
be.
rings?
Yeah.
Maybe it's an Olympic poster for the Tokyo
Could
Olympics.
be.
Could be.
Could be. Yeah. 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 There's a lot of other like ring things out there. I think some people are like, but good, Sonic's a good guess. Can't say that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fine. We'll wait and
It's no
see.
yes
We'll
or
wait and
no
see.
here. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's talk about Shang-Chi for a little bit. I mean, people make a plus in the chat if you have seen it. So we know how much we can spoil or not. But we're gonna start out. I mean, you have been to the UK premiere with Charm, and Charm
Yes.
Murugaya knows his stuff. So how was it of like viewing it for the first time? How did you feel?
It was one of those things like going in is like, okay, it's the first time we've had a new introduction of a hero for a while.
Hmm.
And it's like post Endgame, it's like this is the true like new film that was coming out. And it's actually like where it's supposed to be in the timeline of things. So I was like, okay, very, and just from a representation point of view and so forth, it's like I had a lot personally hinging on it because I wanted it to be great. But yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I got to see it again just the other day. I watched it on Friday as well, and I've loved it. I loved it even more the second time around. I have to say. And it's one of the things. It's like, how do you class it? Do you class it in just like a Marvel film, or do you class it in just the origin movies and so forth? It's hard for anything to be, at the same level of Infinity War and Endgame, just because it's an end of a story and an end of an arc.
Mm.
But in the sense of origin stories, it's top tier. It's up there with like it's one of the best, to be honest. When setting up a character, it goes into so much depth of that character and that world. I think it's the first time we've seen one film that goes into a particular new area of the Marvel universe, and it dives in this deeply without being scared of showing too much. They really push the envelope, I feel,
Okay.
with this new world. So I've got a lot of love for it for sure.
Yeah, without saying like talking spoilers here,
Yeah.
I have to say it was for me personally when I compare it to Black Panther or Captain Marvel that the story of the titular character was not as explored as in the other films, and I think that was the only problem I have with this film. And I
Hmm.
know I can imagine why they did it, but I think I would have loved to see more of him or have the story more be more about him.
Just about him. Yeah, I think one of the things with that is like, and it's a surprise, not a surprise, but you don't see as much in the marketing as you would. But his sister's role in that and his father's role in that, when we was like,
Yeah.
it's to a degree of equal standing, I would say. Because it's not just like, sometimes you have a villain story and the villain story is just like, I want to take over the world for sake of taking over the world. But it's not that type of story. You get
Yeah.
there's a lot more depth. There's a lot more of there's a family element to it, which kind of is the backbone for the entire piece. I don't want to go into spoilers, but there's like there's surprise characters in that sense where it's like you weren't sure that you were going to get this much of them. When you do, it's kind of refreshing.
Hmm.
So from that point of view, and watching it the second time around, knowing what to expect from that point of view, so I can just enjoy it. I've appreciated it more because you are getting a lot more characters in this film rather than here's one main character. But there's other characters that I want to see more of now, and they do get set up with like this is their future in a way. going forwards. So I definitely understand what you're saying. It's not, in a sense, just his story. It's several people's story for sure.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. What how would you rate the movie on a scale from 0 to 10? I mean, I would say definitely both of us would definitely recommend to see that movie, but
Oh yeah, for
let's
sure.
give it
I
a
would put it
rating
up
here.
there as an. I'm giving it a 9 from that point of view. There's always, I think, with any film, there's this stuff that you might want to tweak and adjust, but it's as good as Marvel films get when it,
Yeah.
from that point of view. So it's a 9 from me
Yeah,
for sure.
it's definitely up there for me. In top five, I would say, and I gave it an
Yeah,
8.5. But after a second viewing, I will probably see it again on Thursday in IMAX again. The
yeah.
first time I didn't see it in IMAX, but yeah, after seeing that again, it might go up. It might go up.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, yeah, because it's like, when you've had a bit of distance from it and you're not
Hmm.
there to be surprised, you can just enjoy it for what it is as a piece of storytelling. You never know how that adjusts. So we'll have to compare notes again.
Yeah.
I might end up watching it a third time, to be honest, because I still have to watch it with my son. So I think we're going to watch it tomorrow.
How was the second viewing then for you? Did it change something?
I think it was just better because the person I watched it with, they were like, the first time I watched it, I was very surprised at a lot of things because I wasn't expecting them to go that deep or,
Mm.
push the envelope. It's a Marvel film, but it's very much also a Hong Kong martial arts film.
Hmm.
And I didn't know if Marvel would actually push it that far. From an action point of view and so forth. I mean, I grew up watching Hong Kong films, a lot of Jackie Chan films and so forth. So you can see that style in there because of the stunt team and so forth. So
Hmm.
it's great to have that flavor. It's authentic from that point of view.
Hmm.
So watching it the second time, not having those surprises, you can appreciate for what it is. So I always say to anyone, if you like it, great. Watch it a second time, you'll love it even more.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to my third viewing.
And I was a little bit mad about this one character that didn't get the treatment that he was promised when looking at trailers. Keep it
I,
very
I know
keep it very vague. You know what I'm talking
I
about?
think I know who you mean. I think, yeah, that was a very interesting character, definitely from a
Yeah,
visual point of view.
exactly.
I could have done with more of that character, for sure, because it's like such an interesting look and so forth. But whenever he is on screen, he is like it's a dominant, foreboding figure for sure.
Alrighty. Then Muro has a question for us. What indie or drama projects would you like to work on, given the comic and pop culture work you do is so accomplished?
It's a funny one because you get to work with so many different things over the years, and you forget half the stuff you get to work on. But there's always like more of it's like sometimes it's more of the same. It's like um,
Yeah.
I definitely want to do more comic work going forward. I love the poster side of things, but I'm loving doing comics as well. It's just a different avenue, so I definitely want to do more of that. And definitely, I think one of the other things to tick off is I want to work with DC and do a Batman cover at some point. That's another thing to do. But I'm getting to do some album covers going forward. I'm currently, in the beginning stages of a new project. I'm doing a gig poster for later this year for an official gig poster for a show that's coming soon. So I can't say what it is, but that's a fun one to work on. So that'll be another like crazy one to do. I'm looking at my like little post-it note. I'm gonna just quickly move it around so people can't see what's on it. But that's my like current list of projects, and there's about 9 on there. So I'm looking at that. So I've got book covers. I'm doing more Star Wars book covers. So there's more of that to come. So more in the Rogue Squadron
Yeah.
series of books. So I'm going to do more of that. So that's a lot more fun. In a sense, there's more Star Wars to come. There's more Marvel to come. I'm doing another Iron Man piece for someone. I can't say who it is official, but I'm going to be working on that.
Hmm.
I've just started sketching up a One Division poster. So that's coming. There's more book covers. So there's more in the vein of what we've done.
What about the plates? Where are the plates? I still
I
have our
don't
video.
know.
It's still waiting for to be
Yes.
released.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We might have to update that. Yeah, that was the thing. We talked about it last year, I believe,
It was
at
around
AMPjam.
December. Around December, I
Yeah.
think.
So yeah, I can say we ordered the plates. The plates came in. There was a problem with production, so we weren't going to release those. We weren't happy with they weren't packed right, and hence they got damaged slightly. There was some scratches on it, so we weren't happy releasing those to the public. Just because we don't want to give something that's below standard. So yeah, they're a signed off thing. There's a prototype out there which I can't show, but they are going to happen. So I am just waiting for Bottleneck to say, okay, let's rerun it, let's do the production again, make sure they're packed in the way we want them to, so they everyone can see them in pristine condition. But the Wonder Woman plate will happen for sure.
Okay, people. So if not, you know where to write to. Bottleneck is doing
Yeah,
that. So
let
send
let
messages to Joe. He loves to hear your
yeah,
thoughts and that you want to
sure.
eat off that plate. Um, some question. Kali asks here: would you love to do to work on some Hong Kong action films, or I would say I will broaden the field a little bit here. Any type of Asian films or Asian American films that are related to that to your background also, and
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a sketch I've done for in the Temple of Doom, which definitely has that more, I guess, my background kind of feel from it from a Indian cinema point of view. So I've sketched that up. I'm not sure if it's going to be an official piece or a piece I just, in a sense, put out because I want to do this piece. So there's that. I definitely want to do Hong Kong films as well. Grew up with like Indian cinema and a lot of Hong Kong cinema just because my uncles were martial artists. So we grew up a lot of that. So I want to go back and pick out stuff. There's stuff on my board behind me which you can't really see, which is like my personal list that I want to tackle. So there's a number of like classic Jackie Chan films I want to do, and I want to do it in pay homage to it from my point of view because I'm such a big fan, but also bring something fresh to that genre of posters. So there's definitely a lot of that. I do have like my list, and I haven't been able to do work on many posters as I wanted to this year, just because project work's been really busy. So which is great on its own side, but there's a number of signed off sketches for like I've got a Back to the Future sketch which is signed off for official release. I've got a 2001 piece as well, which is kind of cool. I don't have to go up against Matt's piece because that's a beautiful piece. So I'll work on that later this year. So it might come out at the end of this year, or it might come out next year. But yeah, there's a lot definitely on the horizon. There's a long list of stuff that I want to tick off as always. So that'll be coming later this year and next year for sure.
All right. Then before I let you go, let's talk some more music because we talked about it earlier. And what music do you listen to while working?
It's kind of like it's similar to a degree to what Sam does. Whenever I hear a track on the radio or whatever, and I like it, I will I'll just put it on Shazam or whatever, and it's like, oh, great, I'll add that into my random album, like sort of playlist, and that goes into that, and I keep that on like kind of a loop, like a shuffled loop, so I can listen to different stuff. So it ranges from anything from like Chili Peppers to Hans Zimmer to like Doja Cat. It's varied to like yeah, there's everything in there. There's not like there's one specific sort of thing. I listen to a lot of acoustic stuff. Zimmer's like soundtracks is always great to listen to when you want a certain mood. If I'm working on a particular film, it's like, okay, can I get the soundtrack? I'll listen to that because it kind of keeps you in that mindset. But otherwise, I have this random playlist which has like 1,000 or so tracks in there, and that's just on a loop, on a shuffle. So I get to listen to different stuff throughout the day.
Did you partake in the Poster Posse playlist
No,
drawings?
I didn't. It was one of those things. I've been like the last, I would say, 4 months is probably the busiest I've been in one period of time. It was like I had in just the month of August, I had 9 deadlines to meet, and not all of them were like single piece deadlines. There was
Yeah.
one particular one. There's one particular I had to create like a mini comic book, and that was like 20 illustrations within that 1 month. So
Yeah.
there was a lot to do. So hence why I haven't been able to do as many posters of late, in a sense,
Okay.
from a gallery point of view.
Yeah.
So didn't get to work. I haven't been able to work on a posse drop in a while. So I'm looking forward to now that my schedule's opening up to do the next one.
Yeah. But by the way, do you think that the Empire cover could lead to a poster commission?
Um, I saw one of the things like that was a specific work for a specific thing, so you're not always allowed to reuse that in some way. Not saying it's not going to happen. I can always talk to the guys about Empire and see what their thoughts are, because my the Empire cover that I did was Captain Marvel, and that kind of got translated later
Yeah.
on into a poster. Like
So
concepts were
people,
similar.
hit the plus button in the chat here in the
Yeah,
comments and let us know that if you want the Empire cover.
if you want it, yeah, I'll happily do it. To be honest, but there's always more to explore with that property the more I'm getting to
Oh, there
watch
you
it.
go.
So it could be like a version of it. There is a different color version of it. If you go on my Instagram, I posted that on Friday when it got released.
Yeah.
There was an alt cover that we were looking at, so there's also that.
Yeah,
So swipe through that
that
one.
was the question right away. It just came up here. Is your alternative Shang-Chi the
Yeah,
Empire cover available to purchase off the shelf? Do you know? So yeah.
it's not. No, at one point we were looking at doing a dual release. We are going to have two covers released,
Hmm.
but timing and everything wouldn't allow for it. But because we love both versions of it, so for me, there's the alt version as well, which you never know could become a poster. So I'll
Yeah,
have to have
let's
a
have a
word
rag
with
and a
the entire
variant,
cast.
and then we're good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so people put the plus in there in the chat. Give us yeses or nos or whatever you wanna. If you would like to purchase one, because I would definitely love to purchase one because I think it captures the mood of the movie very well, and if you have seen it, you would definitely say the same. So like by latest after that, you will want one. So yeah, Doaly, thank you so much for stopping by here.
We've got
And
one sec. We've got two more things to talk
okay,
about. One is I'm going to just press live now.
oh, okay, there we go.
Right.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
wanted to come there and say
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
because we just see there that in Twitter in a few minutes as well, the Return of the King signed AP by you will
Yes.
be as a giveaway, and
Yeah. And also, if you can't get a hold of it on the giveaway, I've just put it live on my store. So I've just dropped my Lord of the Rings Return of the King APs. So they're on my store. So if you go to shop.doaly.com, you
yeah,
can pick your AP up from there.
let me post it in the chat just in case. Where did I
Yeah.
put it? Oh, there's the Dolly shop.
Yeah.
Big Cartel, here you go. People, I'll put it in the chat. And I pinned it so you can get back to that. And yeah, Dolly, people already saying you should you should use some WD-40 for your chair.
I did do that
You did do
before the
that?
call because I keep getting like, I know the chair's a bit squeaky.
It
So
didn't
I
help.
did that. But yeah, I might have to get a new chair. Yeah.
You might have, yeah. It's something.
Yeah.
And people saying
I'll
discount
keep an
code
eye on
WD-40 for Dolly.
for sure. Yeah, I need to buy a new chair. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I thought it was, yeah. It's people can hear it. I thought it was I could hear it the whole time, but I didn't want to say
Okay.
please sit still for an hour. That's why I didn't want to
Oh,
say
okay.
it. So
Because
it's
all
all
right,
good.
I've got headphones in, so I can't hear it as much.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I'll know for next time. Just get a new chair. Sit on a different chair. Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. People, go head over to Dolly's shop, buy as fast as you can because they're going to be sold out in probably next 5 minutes. And try your luck on Twitter as the AP giveaway is going to be on the way in a couple more minutes. And yeah, thank you for all the questions and participation in this chat. Hit the like button if you haven't already. It helps us out and keeps us going and so on and so on. Yeah, this is it from me from this year's AMPjam. So thank you so much for having me, Gareth, and the team, and all the people in chat. I hope you enjoyed what I did with my guests and my sections here, and we will see each other, I guess, next year. Or you head over to Drop Mag and follow me there for other new content, which Doaly is going to pop up in as well. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you so much, people. Have a great rest of the last day of AMPjam 2021. And yeah, it's going to be a big one. There's going to be big guns later on today. So, and don't remember, Post of the Year release later with more art gallery. So take care, guys. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
See ya.
And we're out. Alrighty.